Welcome to Abundance Abroad, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey. Welcome back. Welcome back to our chat about abundance, all things abundance, how we're getting there, the oops and the challenges and the fantastic things that happen on our road to abundance. Hi. So, for today, I would love to talk and continue our talk about abundance and do it from my perspective through the lens of my birthday and how I celebrated my 46th birthday this year. And I also want to take a moment to sort of address a comment I saw on Twitter. And what the person said was here, but in essence, their idea, right? Or expressing this belief that spending your birthday alone was somehow sad. And let me just say, when I saw that comment, I immediately looked at the responses underneath, and I thought that the responses that people gave were very kind and were like, some of the best birthdays I've had, I've spent alone. Here's some of the fantastic things that I've been able to do by myself and for myself. And I love that. And I love that. But I also made some assumptions about the person who posted that. One, I assumed it was a young woman. And I made that assumption in part because I do remember being younger, 21, 18, 16, whatever, and feeling that it was sad that if I did not have someone to spend my birthday with, that it somehow was an indicator that I didn't have people, and that people didn't care about me. And it's weird because I am not a person who cares about being alone. Like, I enjoy my own company. I live for my own company a lot. I can remember being a really young child. Like, I'm talking like 6, 7, 8. And I remember the young kids, the neighborhood kids, your friends, would come to the door and like, hey, can Keisha come out and play? And as soon as I heard that knock on the door, I'm like, Mama, tell them I cannot come out. Tell them I'm on punishment. I don't care. Tell them that I can't come out because I don't want to go out and play. I want to sit here and read this book or watch this TV show, or I'll go in the backyard and play, but I don't want to play with people right now. And so, but it was something for me about my birthday that I think made me feel like, that it was sad or it was embarrassing to spend your birthday by yourself. And I am so thankful that I aged out of that, perhaps. Maybe that's what it's called. Maybe it's that I'm just more secure with myself, that I can be honest, that sometimes I just want to be by myself. I want to make the decisions. I want to be chief birthday officer. What I want to do is what I want to do, and I'm not worried about what anybody else wants to do or wants to do for me or not for me. So kind of wanting to think about it from that standpoint, but again, to each their own. Some people, whatever you want to do, I think is my point. Is I don't think that you spending your birthday alone, if it's your choice, is sad at all. And I don't think that spending your birthday with hundreds of people, if it's your choice, is sad at all either. But it was just interesting sort of how I reacted and where my thoughts went when I saw that post. So thought I would just sort of share and think about the table that I set for myself for this year's birthday, and wanting to share a little bit about what that looked like. So with that, let's dive into 46, the big 46th birthday celebration that I planned for myself. When I decided I wanted to do a road trip alone to Marfa, it met some mixed reactions from people, and I made this quick recording to just talk about my rationale for doing a road trip, one, and why Marfa. Hey y'all, so I turn 46 next month. Super excited about moving forward and this next sort of chapter or next sort of birthday, right? But I was on the phone just a minute ago with my mom and was telling her about my plan for my 46th birthday. I am in Texas right now. I'm going to drive out to an area or a town called Marfa, Texas. That is supposed to be really cute, very eclectic, sort of artsy type of town. It's not a huge amount, like it's not a turn up town for sure. But it's supposed to be cute. I've never been there before. And it's in the area around Big Bend. So National Park, there's some hot springs there, some things that I've never done before, never experienced before. So excited about it. And I really am into this whole idea of road trips right now. Like this is going to be a 9-hour drive, which is crazy. And I will still be in Texas. So, you know, her response was sort of like, Marfa, why Marfa? Very judgy. And, you know, that could be a whole video that I'm not even ready or prepared to do. But, you know, this is not a response to my mom, but the idea of why Marfa it's something I've never experienced before. And when I put together my abundance think bubble, you know, I want to be very present in moments. And that's the thing that I like about the road trip. I'm not a big road tripper, but I like the idea of being able to see where you're going, make stops, explore some things that you just sort of are curious about on the journey to where you're going. I was thinking on the way back, I may stop in Austin for a couple of days, but there's freedom in that. I don't have to be anywhere at a certain time. I don't have to leave or be hustled into a queue to get onto a plane or onto a train or even a bus. Like, I'm really excited about the idea of the road trip. Yes, 9 hours is 9 hours, but and then going out to this area where I'm able to be in nature is something that I didn't even know was really a thing for me. I was working in the environmental community years ago, and one of the things that I really got to explore and do a lot is be out in national parks, state parks, and local parks and understand all of the advocacy and the groups and the people who work to keep these parks opened and accessible. But I also realized that, and they know, they might not admit it, but people who look like me are not the people who are on the front lines of advocacy for these parks. And a lot of times we are othered in a lot of ways when we're in the parks. But I really found something that I really enjoyed that I had no idea that I enjoyed. I like being able to get out and run in the national parks. That was one of the things that I always did when I was working and was visiting a park. I always made time to run in the parks around me because that's how I would explore them. I'm not a big hiker, but you know, they all have trails that you can hike, which is really just high key walking. But you know, I think that understanding and discovering pieces of myself through that job is why Marfa, right? But why Marfa? Because I want to I want to be in nature. I want to explore a different national park. I've never been to a hot spring, and I don't know what to expect. I'm going to do some research, but that is going to be a centerpiece of my birthday, is going to a hot spring in West Texas. I'm excited about it. And Marfa, Texas, and experiencing the town itself. I think its claim to fame is there's this movie with James Dean and Elizabeth Taylor that was shot in part on location in Marfa. I'm going to stay in the hotel where the actors and the crew stayed when they were shooting the movie in West Texas like years ago. I'm going to try to watch the movie before I go just because I'm curious, but I'm excited. And while her response to me prompted this video, it really is about thinking about how everything that I'm doing is connected to that ultimate quest for abundance. Whether you understand it, whether you don't, whether you think it's fancy or whether you don't, it is really that self-exploration and that journey toward abundance. So just sort of thought before I lay my head down for the last time, I would sort of just get that off my chest and out of my head, share it with everyone. Maybe it's something that is helpful or resonates. Maybe not, but there you go. That's it, and that's all, y'all. We decided on a road trip to Marfa. We're getting ready for Marfa. We're heading to Marfa, and we're in Marfa. And I want to just share some stories from all of that with you. But let me just make clear, right? Like, I think setting expectations are very important. That this is not a travel channel. I don't do travel videos. I love travel videos. I will post links to some of the travel videos I used to get ready for Marfa and to some of the sites that I used. But I don't do travel videos. I think that it is important for me to recognize and understand that this channel and travel is a mechanism to achieve abundance and to live an abundant life. And so the videos, the pictures, the things that I take are never more important than the actual experience itself and being present in each one of the experiences that I'm having when I'm traveling and just having day to day. So I would not want to confuse anybody or promise something that I don't deliver, because travel videos are not what I do. I am happy to share lessons from all of my experiences, and even take questions about Marfa in particular, or anything that people see if people want to post questions. But just FYI, not a travel video. I do want to share some insight that I got through this trip. I am from Texas. I am always going to rep the state of Texas, but I have not experienced much of Texas. I grew up in Dallas, and I left, and I haven't been here for 2-3 decades. So driving out to West Texas was a completely new experience for me. I'd never been that far out. And when I decided to go out to Marfa, I knew that Marfa is, of course, in West Texas and in what I guess is referred to as Big Bend country. Big Bend is one of probably the top 10 national parks that people try to hit if they're really into going to national parks. And so I thought, okay, I'll go to Big Bend while I'm in Marfa. No. Big Bend is at least 2 hours from Marfa. Going in, like, as I was driving to Marfa, I drove past exits and signs to enter Big Bend. So you would have to go back from whence you came, perhaps, right? And even if you're coming from a different direction, Big Bend is still about 2 hours away. There are plenty of hotels and smaller cities and towns much closer and inside of Big Bend, that if that is your major goal, if that's the thing is I want to spend every day in Big Bend, my recommendation would be to stay closer to Big Bend, not stay in Marfa. So there's one. I did pretty much everything that you do as a tourist in Marfa, everything that I wanted to do for sure, and everything that is through the travel videos and even through the tourist bureau there that they sort of recommend you do, with one major exception. So Marfa Lights is one of the big attractions in Marfa, and it basically, there's a pull off about maybe 30 minutes outside of Marfa where you pull off to the side of the road. It looks just like a a stop, a tourist stop on the highway. You pull there and you just, I guess, sit and you wait for these mysterious lights that flash in the night. And I had I had every intention of doing the Marfa lights. You're supposed to. You go there, right? And so my first night that I got there was talking to some people. They had went, I guess, the night before and they didn't see anything. So I'm like, okay, I got to go maybe a couple of times to make sure that I see it. So maybe start early before I leave, a couple of days before it's time for me to leave, because you may not see it that first time. And so the day that I was going to go at night, and it was like 6 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, okay, but it's still not dark, so you can't really go until it's dark, I'm assuming, because how would you see the lights? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, wait, you're going to wait until it's dark to drive 30 minutes or so from where you are to sit on the side of the road in the dark and wait for some mysterious lights that nobody knows what causes the lights. It's been investigated by the military, all of that. Nobody knows what causes these lights. And just sit there and wait for these lights. And I'm like, girl, no. Like, you are not prepared for an alien abduction or whatever is going on out there. You're not doing it. That does not sound right. So I did skip the Marfa lights. Perhaps if I had been with someone, maybe I would have went, but it just did not seem prudent to go sit in the dark and waiting for some mysterious lights to blink, and think that was not going to be a problem for me. So I did skip the Marfa lights, y'all. When I started thinking about her, when I first heard about Marfa, it was introduced to me as sort of this little hipster town in West Texas. So, of course, that piqued my interest. And the first thing I did a little bit of research on her, really just in Google Maps. So I was like, okay, how far is that from where I am? Okay, 9 hours and some change. Deep breath. It's doable. Fine. And then for me, it was 2A and 2A and 2B, right? Like 2A, I wanted to know about hotels. I'm just always curious. Hotel prices, where do you stay? What do they look like? And then 2B is what do you do? What is there to do? Why would I actually go here? And so when I was looking up hotels, I came across the fact that one of the things that Marfa is known for is a movie called Giant was filmed there. And it is a movie from the 1950s, like 1955, I believe is when it came out. And it's Elizabeth Taylor, Rock Hudson, and James Dean. And I'm a big fan of like TCM, of old movies, of all of those. So I'm like, okay. And then understanding that Giant was filmed there, the hotel that I stayed at, the El Paisano Hotel, is the hotel that crew and some of the cast members, Elizabeth Taylor, for me, red flag, flashing, stayed there. So there are two main hotels in Marfa, I guess, the El Paisano, and then I cannot think of the other name, but it was never any question for me that I was going to stay at the El Paisano Hotel because Elizabeth Taylor stayed there. So that's why I chose my hotel. I chose my hotel because I think Elizabeth Taylor stayed there. Maybe she stayed in my room. I don't know. And when I arrived in Marfa after the drive, it was like maybe 6-7 o'clock at night, still broad daylight, beautiful. And I'm about to go in, and there's this lovely courtyard in the front of the hotel filled with people at this particular point in time. And there's a country music band playing live in the courtyard. And it was just really lovely to walk through it. I mean, again, I was tired and that kind of thing, but it was so unexpected. And it's funny because I'm like, oh, it was a country music band, but clearly, what other live music would it have been way out there in West Texas, right? So um I get up there to the front desk to check in, and you know, it I felt like it was taking longer than it should have taken, but I mean, things run at their own pace there. It wasn't that big of a deal. And the typical question of how many keys do you want? And so I asked for 2 keys. I always ask for 2 keys because those little cards get deactivated if you put them up against your cell phone, whatever. So I'm always like, let me just have my extra one now so I don't have to come back down here. And so the man turns around and he is in this little cubby hole from back in like kindergarten. And he literally gave me a real key, 2 real keys to my room. Um, which I was, because I'm like, I don't want to be carrying around a key every day, like a real key. But I I cannot remember. I think I was in South America the last time I was actually issued an actual physical key to a room, and that just made my evening, lightened my whole day. Loved it. So I cannot say enough good things about the hotel, the El Paisano Hotel. It was lovely. It probably hasn't changed since 1955. So if you're looking for something a little bit more modern, you may want to go with the other hotel if that's your thing. But I got what I expected staying there with this hotel, the oldness of it, the nostalgia. I loved it. So shout out to the El Paisano Hotel. Like my room looks like something out of the 1950s, which is actually what I wanted. So uh, I love the accent wall. I do like the green accent wall for sure. The bathroom is very old school, which is not the worst thing in the world. But this is what shocked me. Like there is an actual, I don't even know how to get out there, but there's an actual patio. This is huge. If y'all can you see, like this patio is huge out there. Fireplace, actual patio out there. Like that is big enough to entertain on if I wanted to. On my first full day in Marfa, wake up ready to get out, and first on my list is I want to have coffee. I want to go to the coffee shop, and I think that just to update my testimony from a bit ago, when I'm looking at places to go, to visit, to travel to, yes, hotel, what is there to do? But probably like 2C is food and coffee. I'm always looking for a unique sort of coffee experience. What do you eat that's authentic to the area? I'm not looking for things that I can just get around the corner from my house. So I went out to the Sentinel coffee shop, which all of it, everything in Marfa is within walking distance, which is so cool. So walk to the coffee shop. They also have drinks. They serve food. They have a really cute little courtyard in the back. And as I'm in line trying to figure out what I want, and taking just, I mean, this armadillo, and this picture is just lovely with the armadillo sitting on top of the newspaper. There's a guy behind me who is like, oh, that's a great shot you just got of, of the newspaper. And he starts to tell me that, oh, yeah, they print the newspaper right here. And I'm like, oh, duh, it's called the Sentinel. So right in the back of the coffee shop is where they print the newspaper for the town. So it just was a lovely experience. The coffee shop is big, bright. It's lovely. It was a great place to go start my day, do my morning pages, get all of the gunk out of my brain so I can just take in everything in the town, and then just kind of, it's right there pretty much in the center of town. So able to walk around, see a lot of the murals that are painted all over. And there was a moment where I'm looking around the town and I'm like, this is so quaint that it's almost like it's staged. Like it's almost like it's designed to be sort of this every town USA type of feel. But I was in for it. I really loved it. So enjoyed the Sentinel, and went back I think, I don't know if I did every day. I don't think I did every day, but I went back a couple of days, had some different coffees and some teas there. The people were very nice. So shout out to the Sentinel. So before I left for my trip to Marfa, I set a few expectations for myself, and I'm experimenting, playing around with this idea of expectations for myself as opposed to goals, and not trying to do away with goals, but I realize that I am really good at meeting expectations, like the expectations of others. I activate when I think about those exceeding expectations. I'm like, set expectations for yourself and do the heck out of them the same way you do that when you have expectations from other people. So I set a few expectations for myself for my birthday trip, and I had to dial it back a little bit because initially I had a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm like, this is also supposed to just be fun. But I expected myself to do my morning pages every day. And if you're familiar with the Artist's Way, that's where I've pulled the morning pages from. And they really have turned into more daily pages for me of just sort of that brain dump, like get all the gunk out of your brain, put it down. It doesn't matter if it makes sense, and just get it out of your brain so you can move on. So doing morning pages every day / every morning, and that was what was great about using the Sentinel. The lobby at my hotel, the El Paisano, was really quiet. So just sitting there being able to do those, and I have an app that I put on my phone that allows me to do that. I set an expectation for myself to run twice. I wound up only running once because it was really, really hot, and I'm not a morning person. So by the time I was ready to get out, it was probably hotter than what I expected. I wanted to create a couple of videos while I was on my trip, which I did. I did do, and just as a general goal, wanted to take more pictures and take more video of the trip. So I did really work hard at that. And then finally, I wanted to go live once. I've never gone live, or I had never gone live before that. So I did accomplish that. So I really used the Sentinel and used the lobby and some of those places just to check in. Where are you? Have you done these things? What did you do? How did you feel about them? And use that to keep me moving forward. So that was exciting to see myself meeting my own expectations. So Marfa burrito, y'all. There are not thousands of places to eat in Marfa. Not shocking, right? And you have to be very cognizant of when things are opened, when things are not. It is really helpful to stop by the visitor center. They put a nice little packet together that lists all of the restaurants and shops and sort of when they open, what days they're open and what days they're not. So shout out to them for that. Super helpful. That packet is really helpful. And the lady in there was really nice. But right down the street from the visitor center is Marfa Burrito. And as you can see, this burrito, I mean, it's pretty simple. It looks pretty simple in terms of how it looks, but it is so good. There is so much flavor packed in this burrito. And I am remiss because I cannot remember which one I got. But I walked into Marfa Burrito, and it really feels like walking into the living room / kitchen of a little old lady. And there are pictures of famous people who visited, and just even like, I guess, local people who visited. Matthew McConaughey is up on the wall. Selena is up on the wall. And then all around the little house that is Marfa Burrito are, people have written on the walls, on the doors, everywhere. And you're encouraged to, I guess, leave a piece of yourself there, which I did, which was really cool. That's not writing on a wall is not something I normally do, but I found a little space and wanted to leave a piece of me. I think that when I went, I didn't know what to expect. I had done, I'd watched some travel videos. Marfa Burrito was on my itinerary based on it being mentioned in some of the travel videos that I've watched. But I didn't realize that, one, it's cash only. I was so happy to have cash. The burritos are $10, and that's what they take, $10. No tax, no nothing. And after I'd ordered my burrito, I'm sitting and I'm kind of, looking around, taking it all in and eating. And this man comes in and he orders a burrito. And he did not realize that it was cash only. And so, for me, I mean, I'm thinking, okay. And the same thing he was thinking, like, okay, I guess that's the end. And the woman who is the woman who was helping everybody, she is the daughter of the owner of the establishment. She was like, no, don't worry about it. What kind of burrito do you want? And he was like, but I don't have the money. He was like, I don't, I don't know. And she was like, don't worry about it. She was like, you'll get us next time. And he was like, oh, I'm just kind of passing through. He was like, I don't know when I'll be back. She was like, you'll be back. You'll be back. What kind of burrito do you want? And it was just one of those moments where I'm like, where am I right now? And she gave him his burrito. He left. He was very thankful, very grateful. But that type of just kindness to the people is something that I know I don't see all the time. And it was worth noting. I think that, you really felt at ease there. And that was sort of the vibe in Marfa all around. So shout out to Marfa Burrito for sure.